The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky, and we just kind of wrapped up talking about the brutal hit from Dennis Weidman on an NHL referee, in which he'll be suspended indefinitely, hopefully for a very long time. And now we're getting into more suspensions in the NHL, more of the outrageous variety, as
Thanks to Gary Bettman,
Jonathan
wonderful
Toews
commissioner.
And Alex Ovechkin have been suspended for a game. And when I read it this morning, when I went and opened it, it said Jonathan Toews suspended for a game. I was like, well, what the hell did he do? And then Toews never does anything. He never does anything to get fined, and he's suspended.
I knew he was sick a couple games ago, but that wouldn't have anything to do with suspension.
He bowed out of the All-Star game to heal up so he could feel better. So he gets suspended for not participating in a non-meaningful game.
Right. It's 3-on-3. The score is going to be 30-28. It's so stupid.
Right. I mean, you're suspending a player in a meaningful game just for not participating in a non-meaningful game is what happened.
Right. And it's it's... And
they did it to Alex Ovechkin, too.
It's really unacceptable. It's, are the NFL players, are they getting fined for not going to the Pro Bowl?
Yeah, really.
No.
Could you imagine if the NFL was fining...
That's the only way Kyle Long got to go, was because, tons of people bowed out of of going to Hawaii this weekend.
Yeah, could you imagine if they suspended everyone in the NFL that bowed out of the Pro Bowl? Come on.
Half of the league would be suspended.
Exactly. Why does it matter? It's a meaningless game. It's not like the baseball All-Star game where that actually matters and it's for home field advantage in the World Series. This is meaningless.
Which is also kind of dumb.
Yeah, this game means nothing.
Right.
And
it just
no one
doesn't make any
plays
sense.
defense. No one does anything. They're trying out a new thing. I think the NHL has some of the best festivities, like the breakaway contest, the shootout challenge, the hardest shot, the skills competition. Just kind of events. They have some really cool stuff. Except the game itself, no one cares. And another thing to top it off is John Scott being voted in as an All-Star captain.
Right.
Where the guy has 2 career goals.
Right. I know everyone's been freaking out about that. It's just. It's so stupid. It's like that they do everything wrong, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, remember baseball.
That's Gary Bettman.
Yeah,
though.
baseball avoided a huge,
dummy.
a major embarrassment when it looked like there would be 8 Royals starting in the All-Star game.
Oh my gosh, I remember last year we were freaking out about that. Nori Aoki was getting votes from the fans in San Francisco who wanted to see him.
Getting more votes than Andrew McCutcheon.
I know, it didn't make any sense. Well, it's the same with the NBA.
People are really upset with the NBA voting.
I know Jimmy Butler's an All-Star reserve, but he really should be starting instead of Dwayne Wade. I believe Wade is the starting either shooting guard or small forward. I forget what position that he's going to be playing in the All-Star game because it changes and stuff, but it should be Jimmy Butler. He had the better numbers. People were mad about that, but he's a reserve. Powell did not make the team as a reserve. I was a little surprised about that.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? He might get traded again. We'll get into the Bulls.
I'm surprised Derrick Rose didn't make it. All the stupid Chicago fans vote him in.
I'm actually surprised that Rose didn't make it, not because of the wonderful season he's been having. He's been
just spectacular this year.
Just spectacular.
Game-winning shots. It's the MVP season all over again.
25 points a game. In all seriousness, I actually thought fans were going to vote him in.
So did I, because those 300-level Bulls fans, they love Derrick Rose.
Remember when that season he didn't even play and he was still getting All-Star votes?
Oh, yeah, I know.
The guy didn't even play a single game the whole year and he's getting
he didn't play a single game in 2012, 2013.
He's getting tons of All-Star votes.
He was getting votes. Yeah, it's really stupid. And then now going back to hockey now, just because Toews doesn't want to play and Ovechkin doesn't want to play because they're trying to rest up to win the Stanley Cup, and they're the best players on their team, and they kind of need to be there.
Ovechkin has a lower body injury. He can't play. He has to heal. So you're going to go and suspend him? Are they trying to make a statement if you're missing the All-Star game with an injury, you'd better be injured, and we're forcing you to miss a game? Is it like the NFL concussion protocol where if you get knocked or if the trainer has to come on the field, you have to miss a snap.
Right.
Like,
It's ridiculous. And
why does it matter? Like, I guarantee there isn't going to be a single fan in Nashville that is upset that Jonathan Toews is not, or that's going to be upset that James Neal is there instead of Jonathan Toews, considering their own player got in because Toews backed out.
Right.
I'm sure there's not a single Nashville fan that actually is upset about that.
No, I wouldn't think so. But, it's also the same thing with the Pro Bowl in Hawaii. Tom Brady makes it every year, and he bows out every year. So, I mean, are people mad at him? Is he going to be suspended for a game now because of that? No.
Well, I mean, Roger Goodell probably
well, he'll try to find
a way to suspend him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really buy that necessarily. I mean, I know, I think everyone was saying, the happiest person that was happy that the Patriots lost was Roger Goodell. But, I don't really see that. He wants, I think it's the opposite. I think he would want the Patriots to win as many as they can so he can be a commissioner while they still have their dynasty going.
Exactly. I mean, and another thing, like, what if someone were to get, like, Toews isn't up to full strength, same with Ovechkin. What if they made their injury worse Toews isn't injured, he's just ill. Except what if Ovechkin were to make his injury worse by playing in the All-Star game?
Right. I mean, you definitely don't want to aggravate something, and if you get hurt in an All-Star game, I mean, you just feel like crap if you get hurt in the All-Star game. You're like, why did I even play? Like, why am I out here? Why aren't I at home resting during the break that the NHL gives us?
Right. When your team probably needs that break, especially a team like the Blackhawks that has been used to having short summers, they need all the rest they can get.
Right.
That's why it might have been a blessing in disguise that Corey Crawford didn't make it. Granted, he absolutely should have made the All-Star team over Pekka Rinne, who's been one of the worst goalies in the league this year, sporting a save percentage just above 90, where Crawford's is over 93.
Right. Yeah, it's not good the way that they do things in the NHL for the most part. Same thing with the undisclosed injuries. They never tell you what the injury is. They just say lower body, upper body. But you can never find out what the injury is, so you're always confused as to why the player's hurt. Which is another thing that they do. I mean, in all the other sports, they tell you what it is. They tell you how long it's going to take for them to be back on the field or back on the court. But in hockey, they don't tell you how long it's going to take for them to be back on the ice, and you don't know what the injury necessarily is, and you can thank Gary Bettman for that.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a joke. I mean, again, this is a meaningless game, and they're taking away two of the premier players in the league from playing in meaningful games.
Right. It's
just because they don't want to play in the All-Star game.
Right. It shouldn't be that way at all, and it's dumb. I mean, sure, some people watch the All-Star games, but they're not going to make a big deal over it. I mean, the NBA All-Star weekend gets worse every single year.
Yeah, I mean, the dunk contest just becomes jumping over things.
But the dunk contest was pretty good last year.
Levine was very good last year.
Zach Levine was good, and somebody else was doing pretty well. But, I mean, all the other ones, the skills challenge in the NBA used to be really cool. Now people, screw up all the time, and it's not as enjoyable. The three-point contest is not what it used to be, especially now that Steph Curry, maybe he'll be in it, who knows. But if Steph Curry's in it, I mean, it's already over. You already know who won, so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's also disappointing that they're actually making that big of a deal about the All-Star game.
I know it shouldn't be made a big deal, and
when it means nothing.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't mean anything. The players don't try. It's the skills competitions that they have the day before the All-Star game. Those are always really fun to watch. Except other than that, no one cares. They're trying to invent ways to make it more fun and more entertaining for the fans. Except in 3-on-3, that's just going to tire out players easier.
Yeah, I think it definitely would. It's very strange the way that they set these things up. I mean, nobody used to make big deals about All-Star games.
No one used to be suspended for missing an All-Star game.
I mean, if you think about it, it really doesn't make any sense at all why they're being suspended. But
Right.
that's the way it goes.
Every day there's brutal hits that guys might not be getting suspended for. They'll only be getting a fine, and yet they're getting suspended just for missing one of the most meaningless things that's going on.
Right.
What do you think is more important to Jonathan Toews and Alex Ovechkin? Healing up, getting back to full strength, or playing in the All-Star game?
Yeah, I would think healing up and playing with your actual team in the games that you can win and lose. I think that's a little more important.
It is, and I mean, well, I really couldn't believe when I woke up and saw that. I was just like, is this like something that The Onion posted? I mean, that sounded like something The Onion would post.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem real, that's for sure. We're going to take a quick update. We'll come back, and we'll continue to talk about this, and we'll wrap it up, and Chris will be up in about 10-15 minutes. Okay, welcome back to the Sports Renegades here on SportsTownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
And we were talking about Jonathan Toews and Alex Ovechkin as they won't be participating in the All-Star game, which means they get a one-game suspension for the next game, which is nice and horrible at the same time. But while we have a little bit of time, we wanted to talk about Stan Bowman getting his extension for the Hawks, and as we're still talking about hockey, and he'll be here through the 2021 season.
Yep, the 3-year deal. It starts when his current one expires after next season, and I have to say he's worth every penny. He's helped bring 3 Stanley Cups.
All right.
2 of them after dismantling the very first team, so it shows that he was able to bring back another team. Again, this goes along with the Joel Quenneville extension as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's a great feeling that they are going to be here for even longer. And
right, and I believe that their deals expire the same year, which I'm sure that by the time we get to 2021, we'll be hearing about another extension that both of them get, another 2 or 3 year extension most likely.
Yeah, I wonder how long it's going to go. How long is Stan Bowman going to be here? How long is Joel Quenneville going to be here? Because I'm assuming this is Joel Quenneville's last job. He'll probably retire after this, but you never know.
Right, and he's having a lot of fun. He said retirement's the last thing on his mind.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure Stan Bowman will be here for a long time to come.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely had the most success here than he's had anywhere else. So, and he's been, a very good general manager wherever he's been. He's done a pretty good job. So it'll be just sort of an interesting development, see how many Stanley Cups they can win before 2021, and then keep going on from there.
Right.
Of course, it's near impossible to win back-to-back in the Stanley Cup, to win back-to-back Stanley Cups. But if any team can do it, it's the Blackhawks.
Right, and you know that they're probably gonna have more motivation because no one has repeated since the Red Wings back a long time ago, and they're gonna have motivation to want to do that because they don't want to lose in the conference finals to the Kings or lose whenever and then try to come back and win next year. They're on right now. I mean what they would need to do is try to win back to back, and right now I mean they're on a torrid pace right now. So it'll be a fun race to watch. And we'll be right back, and when we come back on, we'll have Chris Simpson of the Daily Blitz coming on to recap what happened last week in the NFL playoffs. You're listening to the Sports Renegades on SportsTownChicago.com.
The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.